Hi, and welcome to the Virgin River Cafe Rewatch podcast. Good morning, Gigi.
Good morning, Tracy.
How are we doing today?
Well, I have a bit of a cold, so if I sound off, folks, please accept my apologies.
Yeah, you should get hazard pay because you work with children and people that little people tend to, if not the big people that are with the little people, somebody gave you something and, you know.
Yeah, well, my newborns don't give it
No,
to
I
me.
know.
It's
It's always the children, but unfortunately, the parents give it to the kids and then it makes the babies not happy.
mm-hmm.
We can only hope that if it goes through the family, that they get it over with this weekend as well. And we all get back on Monday fresh as a daisy and healthy.
Mm-hmm. Well, we can only hope, folks. We can only hope.
Right. So, what are you drinking today? I hope it's something to make you feel a little better.
It is. I'm still in my birthday month,
Oh, yes, you
and
get the free coffees. We got it. You got it. Everybody
I
should sign up
yeah,
for everything free you can get for your birthday because there's so much out there.
there is. So I got one of my other things that I got for my free birthday is I got a this is not a coffee, it's a drink and it comes in handy now.
Hmm.
It's my green tea lemonade.
Oh, nice. Good, good, good. Those are yummy. I know you like those. And I love
Oh,
them too.
so that's what I have for today's drink. So yeah, we're good.
Yum, yum. Well, today
How about
I got my daughter was in Costa Rica with choir and they did their annual trip where they go and they perform and sing and whatever, and she went to a coffee farm. She went to a coffee plantation tour. And I said,
Ooh,
"Bring mommy back some coffee, darling," because and she did. She brought me a bag of coffee. So I made some cold brew and it's pretty good. So I'm enjoying the Costa Rican blend today.
well,
We're going a little international.
they do make good coffee.
Yeah.
You know.
So I'm enjoying that today.
All right.
All right. So let's get started.
We are on season 5, episode 3, calculated risk.
Mm,
Everybody's at risk in this place.
I know. We're starting to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
So here we go. It's the roller coaster ride. We've waited in line and we're
Yeah.
now sitting in the seat getting ready to leave the station for the ride of our lives.
And I hate roller coasters.
I know. And it's a tough one. There's a lot of ups and downs, but we're going to get through it together. Okay, so the description for this one says Mel makes an exception for a former patient. Brie opens up to Brady. Preacher meets a charming firefighter. Oh, Preacher might find love again. Jack goes mountain climbing with Denny.
Right.
So we start off with what looks like. Remember when Mel and Jack they have this airstream? He's going to be a glamping mogul, and it's now complete, and it looks like they're having a party. It seems like everybody's there. The lights that Nick had brought Jack. It looks like he's using them. He strung them up all over. The border around this is beautifully done. He does nice work. Jack's a very handy guy. Looks like they have a DJ and the whole town is there. And it looks like a nice party. And we have Jack and Mel, and they just look so all dressed up. Jack's in a nice suit, no tie, nice suit. And Mel's in a nice dress. And Preacher comes up and he's like, "These two, relationship goals." And they look at each other and it's very cute. And he's like, "You think I'm drinking in celebration?" As he holds up some champagne. And he was like, "No." He goes, "I am drowning my sorrows because they have set the bar too damn high." And everybody starts laughing. And they're just looking at each other, smiling. He goes, "To the happy couple." And everybody holds their glasses up. Jack looks at Mel, and she's drinking water because remember, she's pregnant.
Now I can't remember. Does everybody know as yet?
Yes,
Besides,
remember she went in to Jack's bar, and Joe Allen had told everybody at the sewing circle, and it
oh, that's right. That's right.
basically that just cat's out of the bag. If
Yeah.
the sewing
And you
circle
know, I,
knows, the whole
yeah,
town knows.
yeah. And Joellen can't keep a secret to save her life, and I literally mean that.
Right. And we know that the whole town knows because when Charmaine stopped by in the previous episode, she said, "I heard, congratulations." So if
Right.
no one even talks to her, and all the way in Grace Valley where her salon is, if she heard about it, then pretty much
Yeah.
everyone in 100 square miles
Yes,
probably
I've heard
already
of.
knows. So Mel and Jack are looking at each other, and he looks at her with his glass of champagne in his hand, and she's like, "It's okay. It's just a sip." Like reassuring him because remember, he promised he wouldn't drink.
Mm-hmm.
And he was going to hold his promise because he didn't keep the promise before. But now he's
Yeah.
really trying hard. And they have a fun Earth, Wind, and Fire song playing in the background, September, which is great. So everybody takes a sip. Everyone's cheers, cheers, and the glasses are all clinking together. And then the DJ starts playing the music, and everybody's dancing and having a good. Jack and Mel are dancing together. It's really cute, laughing, and he's dipping her, and it's like the song "Do You Remember?" and everybody's clapping, and Jack's walking around talking to everybody. He goes up to the table and he grabs himself another champagne, and he looks at it like he's pausing to think about it, and he decides to down the whole thing.
Uh,
One sip. And now he's really dancing. He's having a good time. Everyone's laughing. He's dancing. Now he's got a beer in his hand. He's drinking a beer. Oh,
uh,
take your jacket off. And then he's giving Doc a big hug, and he's like, "Oh, I love you, man." And he Doc is saying to him,
yeah.
"See, I told you. I told you." He goes, "Yeah, you did." You know, because they're just hugging, and then he's laughing with Brie, and he's rolling his sleeves up, and he's doing some fun dance
Mm-hmm.
moves, and he's just having a
Yeah.
good. Now he's looking a little wobbly,
Now,
and
yeah,
now
he
here he's got himself a
mm,
bottle
uh,
of champagne in his hand.
champagne.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's no good. That's
he's
just
getting
no.
out of hand.
Well, out of hand, he's been drunk since the 2 beers ago.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's definitely overdid it, and he is getting a little wobbly. Now he's getting goofy. Now everyone stops
Ugh.
and looks at him. And obviously this is like an engagement party, like a congratulations engagement party because there's a big banner, a big sign that says congratulations by the Airstream. And so of course everyone's celebrating, but he took it a little far. And he's now getting wobbly, and then he falls down, and people are looking at him, and everybody's like, "Are you
Mm,
okay, Jack?" And then everybody's staring at him, and it's like close up. Mike staring at him, Preacher staring at him, you know, and he's looking a little woozy, and Doc is staring at him, and Bree stops and gives him like a weird look, and all of a sudden everyone stops, and everyone's whispering, and he's looking a little distraught because now he's taken it too far. And
mhm.
then he turns around, and there's Mel with her arms folded in front of her, not looking happy. And she just stands there, and he's like, and everybody's looking at him, and then everybody kind of backs away from him. And then he sees his brother, which and his brother is coming from the direction of the water, where Mel is on the opposite side of him. And he sees his brother, and it like stops him cold. And he's like, "Why did you let me fall off the roof?" And everyone's just looking at him and looking at the brother. And Jack is like, "Adam, what are you doing here?" And he's like, "Stop letting everyone down, Jack." And he's yelling at him, and it's echoing. And then Mel walks up to Jack to touch his shoulder, and that's when he wakes up. This was all a dream. And she touches his shoulder like for real, and he jumps. And she's like, "Oh my gosh, like, are you okay?" And she's like, "It's okay. It's okay." And she's like, "I think you were having a nightmare, honey." And he just looks petrified,
Mhm.
like as if he's seen a ghost, which technically in his dream he did.
He did
So,
exactly.
it checks. So he's like, "Yeah, yeah." And he's like, "Oh my gosh." He just lays there, and you could tell he's heavy breathing. He's like, "Oh my God." And she sits down next to him and puts her arm on his lap. She's like, "Sweetie." And she's like, What was it about?" And he lies because he knows. He's like, "Oh, I can't remember." And he's just stuck, like frozen. And she's like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, yeah. I'm, uh." He goes, "I can always unpack it with Barry later, if I remember what it was. Because I think it was too much for him to handle that he can't even talk about it right now.
Yeah.
See, this is why it's good to have a therapist
Mhm.
because that guy, he'll take it all.
Mhm.
I always say because if you can't talk to your family, go talk to your therapist because you got to talk to somebody.
This is why they make the big bucks.
That's right. And you know what? They earn every dollar. And I love
Mhm.
the fact that this show embraces the fact that he needs better mental health and that he's getting help for it and that they
Yep.
talk about it. It's not just like, oh, Jack goes to see a therapist and we never speak of it again.
Yeah.
Like, they deal with it. They show you that he's dealing with it. They show you the process he went through to get there. I love that. It's so rare. It's so rare. It's usually in like comedies they'll make a joke about the therapist or something, but this is like serious. Like they're seriously dealing with it, which I appreciate. So, she's like gives him a smile and she's like, "Okay, but you can always talk to me about it if you want." She's like, "I am your fiance after all." And he's like, "Oh, is that so?" And now it's changing his mood a little bit. She's like, "Yeah,
Mhm.
it is." And he's like, "Thanks." And he's like, "But I'm good." Gives her a kiss on the hand. He goes, "I'm good. I'm going to grab a shower before therapy." And up he goes in his black boxers to the bathroom. And she's kind of feeling like, "Oh, I kind of wish you would talk to me about it." But you know what? At least he's talking to somebody. Now we have some beautiful waterfall transitions. They do
As
change it up some, which is nice.
well as you say, the scenery is its own story in
It's his
this.
own character, absolutely
Yeah.
100%. So we are at Bree's new apartment or house, I should say. She rented a house. So we're at Bree's new rental. And she grabs her coffee. She's got her phone. And Brady walks in and he is all dressed up. He's got himself a suit and a tie. And she looks at him up and down and she's like, "So woon." That's so cute. She goes, "Oh, here I thought I fell for James Dean, not James Bond." And he unbuttons his jacket and kind of looks there cute, puts his hand in his pocket, doing the pose. Kind of cute. She's like, "Oh, not that I'm complaining." He's like, "Oh, you like this suit? Better than my other one?" And she's like, "What other one?" He goes, "My birthday suit." And she goes, I mean, let's not go that far." She's like, "Come here, let me get a good look at you." And she starts messing with his tie and she pulls it off because it's not a real tie, it's a clip on, which I think is hilarious because he's not a sophisticated guy.
Oh God, no.
I mean,
No. This is a bear and hot dog person.
oh my
He
God.
he would know what to do with caviar if it stuttered and bit him.
I mean, the fact that he may who knows where he even got this suit because I didn't even know he'd have one. But
The
she
fact that he owns one surprises the
well,
hell
and
out of
maybe he doesn't. Maybe he rented it. We have no idea. Who knows? But she's like, "Oops," and she pulls his tie off and she puts her hand over her mouth like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. How embarrassing." It's kind of funny. She looks at the tie and he's like, "Yeah, okay. So, I don't know how to tie a tie."
me.
And she just kind of laughs. He goes, "Laugh it up. Go ahead." And she's like, "If you promise to dress like this a little more often, then I will happily show you how." Because she knows how. He goes, "Well, as much as I love the attention," she's trying to clip it back on. "Wearing this getup is probably going to remind me of funerals." She's like, "I'm sorry." She clips his little tie back on. She goes, "You sure don't want me to come with you?" He goes, "Oh, no, it's good. I got it." She goes, he's like, "Besides, I didn't really know Jeb. I'm only going because he worked at the lumber yard." He goes, "Besides, you need to focus on your call with the lawyers. Because remember, she did a report against Don. And the
Yeah.
trial is happening in a couple of weeks, and they probably need to talk to her, especially if she's going to be part of the trial." She's like, "Okay." And she's like, "I get to dust off every skeleton in my closet so the prosecution can get ahead of all the things Don's attorney will use to discredit me in court." He goes, "As soon as I'm done with the funeral, I'll come right back to you." She goes, "Oh, my hunky boomerang." She goes, Your hunky boomerang?" They both laugh and they give a little kiss. Very cute, very sweet. Okay, maybe more than just a little kiss. And a nice little hug because they both need it. He's, I love you. And he goes, yeah, I love you more, which he does. I don't know. I don't know these two. They got some serious chemistry.
Mm.
So, I don't know. It's
A-
usually pretty
and
hot with them.
yeah, and that chemistry is going to be tested big time.
They're so different. I mean, they say opposites attract.
Huh.
So, I mean, clearly they work, but do they work
Yeah.
well? That's the problem. Is it
Well, part of it has to do with the fact that the universe is out to make his life a living hell.
yes.
And so every time
100%.
he every time he thinks he's got it going on, the universe goes, no, not
And
really.
knocks him down. I mean, it's
Exactly. So
I
that's
mean,
the problem with that
he
little scenario.
he can't get out of his own way though. I mean, that is part of the problem. He's kind of
Yep.
a trouble magnet.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't put yourself in bad situations, bad things tend to not happen. But, you know, he hasn't learned that lesson yet, so he apparently
Hmm.
life needs to give him a few more lessons before he learns it. We'll see. So we are out on the running trail because that's what Mel does. And she's running, and apparently so does Cameron. Because remember, they were discussing running when Cameron came over for a barbecue with her and Jack. And Cameron sees Mel, and he's like, "Hey, Mel." Now remember, things are very awkward with them, and she's kind of decided to give him space, do her job. You know, when they were at the clinic, that didn't work, so she left. He stayed. So my guess is she tries to not purposely avoid him, but not make it a point to be around him as much as possible, just so that it's not weird. Because Cameron
Right.
tends to make things weird. Because
Uh, he was,
it's just Cameron.
he's just bloody weird, period.
I know you don't like him. He's growing on
Don't
me.
let-
I know it's
no.
okay. It's okay. You don't have to like him.
It's there are shows where you may, there are characters where you like and you don't like. Pretty much sticking to what and until there's some major change going on. Yeah, it's like how I feel about Charmaine.
I know.
She still doesn't rub me the right way. I understand the degree of what her character is supposed to be,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna stick to the fact that the character I can't stand.
Yeah, I
So
get it. I
and then
get it.
that little stunt she pulled, oh
Yeah.
hell no, she has just dropped to
Yeah.
the bottom. She is now last. Cameron is a close second.
Okay. Okay. All right. Noted. All right. We got it. Well, unfortunately, Mel is running and Cameron comes up to her and he's like, "Hey, Mel." Now, she doesn't really want to talk to him. She goes, "Hey, Cameron, how's it going?" Now, she's going to be cordial. She doesn't have to be nice. She just needs to be cordial and pleasant. That's all, that's all she needs to be. She just be neighborly, I guess is in Virgin River, I guess that's what we would call it. She's just going to be neighborly. And he's like, "Oh, I'm great. It was a good run." I mean, can you really have a bad day in Virgin River? And Mel's like, I don't know. And he's like, "I think you can. I mean, I certainly have." And she's like, "How's the clinic?" He goes, "Oh, Doc is Doc. We're navigating our roles, so overall, everything's fine."
Mhm.
And she's like, "Oh, glad to hear it. I better get to it." He goes, "Are you enjoying your downtime?" It's like, "Okay, Cameron. You could just let her leave. Just say, 'Have a great day. Enjoy your run.'" Like, why? Why must you engage? Do not engage, Cameron. Do not. We know you got the hots for her, and
And
you're
again, you
not
see
gonna
why I
get.
don't like his stupid
I
ass.
know you're not gonna
Yes.
get her, Cameron. Let it go. Be Elsa and Anna, and let it go. Seriously, Cameron, my friend. Maybe you need to talk to Barry. I don't know. So she comes back and she's like, yeah. And he goes, "How's Jack doing?" And then she
You
gets
see,
this look on her face. I'm like, "Okay, Cameron, I realize you've got a shovel in your hand and you've started digging. Stop digging. Cameron, put the shovel down." Seriously, dude. Like,
uh,
like Cameron. I just want to grab his ear, smack him in the back of the head. Like, I want to reach in the screen, you know? Like, and she gives him a look like, "Dude," she goes, he's good. Are there any other questions you want to ask?" Or he goes, "Oh, I wasn't. I was just, trying to be friendly. He goes, all right, well, I thought you didn't want to know about my personal life. He's like, I'm sorry. I was just asking in a general sense to be polite. And she's like, okay, well, I better get started on my run. So take care. And he's like, yeah. And off she goes. And he's just looking like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have said all that. Really? Really? Dude, think before you speak. I
And the thing,
realize he sees Mel and he just can't help himself. I
but
get it. I
but
get it.
yeah, but also he in general. Remember when he first came to town, he feels it's his need to be social
Mm-hmm.
because that's the sort of person he is. He likes to interact with people, but he's got to know when to pull it
Well,
back.
okay, and I get that. And he's fine with everybody else. If he treats everybody else and treats Mel the same way, it wouldn't be a problem. But the problem is he's got the hots for her. And he knows
That's
and has been told on numerous occasions that he
by
can't have
numerous
her. And
people.
then he finds out she's pregnant. So that even further solidifies the fact, dude, she's not into you. But yet, he can't help himself. He would be the
No, he can't.
emoji with the hearts in the eyes. Okay? That's it. He can't help himself. He has fallen for Mel. She has his heart and he just can't let it go yet. No matter the uphill battle that he will never climb. It doesn't matter until he accepts the fact that she is just not into you, dude. It's not going to happen. He's going to keep at this. And he keeps getting smacked down and she is very polite about it.
Oh God, she's got the patience of Joe because if it was me, I'd have shut that puppy down so fast
I know.
it'd make it spin.
You'd have given him a
Uh,
verbal lashing on day 1 and that would have been the end of it. And he would have crawled away with his tail between his legs crying.
hell yes.
But
Yeah,
that's not Mel. And
that's
she's trying to be respectful
I,
because they live in the town together and it's not a very big
yeah.
place.
No, it isn't. But she's always been like this.
I know.
She's always
I
been
know. Very
very
diplomatic and
right. She reminds me of you.
thing.
And the thing about it is, there's a time and a place for that. But right now, somebody needs to cut him off at the knees and let the boy just crawl his ass
I
back to where he came from.
I think she's hoping that the more she distances herself and basically shuts down every time he tries to do whatever it is he thinks he's doing, that
Mm-hmm.
eventually he'll just give up and move on. It's sort of like the I'm going to slowly back away and try not to make eye contact kind of a thing. I think that's what it is. And so she's trying to do that
Uh,
because she's trying to be gentle about it because there's only 3 people in this town in the medical field. And there is going to come a time where she has to work with him. Even though she gave up her job at the clinic, like they're not going to need her for something, right?
yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
she still has, if she makes it bad between them, that's going to make it hard for Doc. And that's the
Yeah.
last person she wants to disrupt. So
Right.
I
That's
think
true.
she's trying to be diplomatic, trying to be gentle, but firm. And personally, that's probably how I would go about it, but that's
Oh yeah,
me.
I know you would. I know you would. And
I've had to do
I
that. And it's like you stay firm and you just keep basically repeating the same thing until they get it. And he'll get it
okay.
eventually.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys are Switzerland. I am not Switzerland.
You got to be sometimes, you know?
And
And the thing
sometimes
is,
I
he just
don't.
needs something new and shiny to look at. As soon as he gets something new and shiny to look at, Mel will be a distant past and he will move on. He just hasn't been able to move on yet, and that's his problem. He's still enamored with Mel. He sees her walk by and is like it's like the cartoon characters where the jaw falls and the tongue comes out and the eyes bug. That's him. That's him right now, and he feels bad about it. I mean, the look on his face. He clearly knows he made a mistake having this conversation. He could have just
Yes,
said, "Hey Mel, how's it going? Good. All right, good, good. Nice to see
nice
you.
being
Have a
here.
great run," and move on. But no, no. He grabbed the shovel and he started digging right there where he stood. Oh, Cameron.
Oh,
It's
that
okay. It's
boy.
okay.
Mm.
He's gonna learn. He's gonna learn. Because Mel's not gonna give him an option to do anything different. So, oh, Cameron, 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 poor fool.
Uh,
So we are at Hope's house. Now she is sitting in her living room and she is watching the TV, which is the news. The reporter is saying that it's day 5 and the Grace Valley wildfires continue with no signs of stopping. And Doc is with her and Lizzie is there. And I mean, this is looking like a bad
Yeah,
fire.
yeah.
So
And as you and I are fully aware of, these things in our part of the world can go
yeah, they can get
fast.
out of hand very
It
fast.
can real fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Lizzie says, I think it's climate change. She's like, no, not that. She goes, the mayoral vote. I delivered an outstanding speech. And Jock's like, it's a disappointment, but you did everything you could. And now we have to shift our perspective to the blessings that are with us. And the reporter says traffic stops are in place to monitor for reckless behavior. And then what the news is saying is that wildfire tears through Humboldt County, which is the county that Virgin River is based in,
Mhm.
which is the Northern California area.
Yep, that's me.
Yep,
That's my.
I know.
And let me tell you, when that puppy hits. And the funny thing about fires up here is that because the houses are spread out very far, it's not like where you are, where your communities, there are a lot of people in one area
Right,
and
what
then
big
some on
neighborhoods,
site.
sure.
Right. Where we are, in that area, the houses are spread apart very, with considerable amounts of acreage.
Well, that's
So,
because their houses are much bigger and much more expensive. So that's
well, not
Silicon
all of them.
Valley ish
Yeah,
area.
yeah.
So,
But not all of them. Some
sure.
people have lived in these neighborhoods for 50, 40 years before all these hot shots moved into this place.
Right.
But the thing is,
Mm-hmm.
they just need one spark and they just swarm through, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really hard when these things happen. It doesn't take long. That's
No,
the
and
scary
it's all the
thing.
wind. It's all wherever
Oh
the wind
yeah.
takes it. You get a
Right. And
fire,
you
you get
guys,
embers.
right,
You could have a
right.
fire in one place and it could spark 2 miles down the road because an ember got taken by the wind.
Yeah. And you in particular, where you have these Santa Ana winds. Ooh,
Yes, it's bad. It's
yeah,
really bad.
it's bad.
So the fire chief, so they have, the news continues and it says, despite the measures, the fire chief, and she's like, I wish there was something I could do to help. And Doc's like, well, we can make a donation and let others know also. And Lizzie says, money's great, but it'd be nice if we could actually do something. And they're kind of all looking at each other. And she's like, hey, how about we make packaged meals and deliver them to the frontline workers? So Hope says, that's not a bad idea. And Doc's like, yeah. Lizzie says, show everyone that you still have the goods. And Hope says, and that I care about my community. And not to throw shade, but I haven't seen Nick do anything since he became mayor. He goes, yeah, well, it's Mayor Nick. Really? And she's like, the only thing he's done is extend the public library's summer hours. And Doc's like, look, while spiteful philanthropy can do just as much good, it's funny. We're talking about 100 meals here. That's no easy feat for our kitchen.
Yeah, Doc has to reel her back in.
Well, that's okay. They're going to come up with a plan. And Lizzie's like, I'll ask Preacher if we can use the food prep bar. She's like, oh, and maybe Aunt Connie will lend us the bakery trucks to deliver them. And they're like, oh, they're all like looking like this is a great idea. And then Lizzie said, and I'll contact the local news and get you some press. So now they're getting excited. And Doc's like,
Oh,
Hope, do you think this is the best idea given your TBI? And he's very concerned. He's like, look, this whole thing sounds like a lot of work, and I don't want you stressing yourself out and having a setback. She's like, stop stressing about stress. He's like, can't help it. It goes with the job. She gives him a big kiss. She's excited. I'll be fine. He's not looking, so he's looking a little worried there, Doc. But, and then he touches his eye because there's a problem. Remember, he's still got the whole macular degeneration thing. And he's concerned about his eyesight. Even though he says everything is fine, everything is not fine. Because when people say they're fine, they lie. That's just a lie. The last thing anybody is fine when they say they're fine.
especially in soap operas.
Right? Oh my God. Drama, soap operas, everybody. Yeah, totally. So he's touching his eye. So there's might be a bit of an issue there. But, he's going to work through it. So now we get to Jack and Barry in a therapy session. And Jack's
Oh,
like,
I love this scene. I love this.
I know. Jack's like, I don't get it. He goes, I mean, I have no interest in drinking. Why am I dreaming about slipping? And why was Adam there? And Barry's like, well, I'm no Freud, but I think your dream has less to do with predicting future behavior and more about your need to always be in control. And Jack just kind of chuckles at that with his dimples. Sorry. He
Yes,
distracts
I
me with
know.
the dimples.
It's not going to say you're a dimple kind of girl.
I so am dimpled. That's why my husband has dimples, because they're just so darn cute. Jack's like, control? And he kind of looks at Barry like, And he gets up and he's like, yeah, well, what's wrong with being in control? And Barry says, I get the sense that being in control is a point of pride for you. Jack can't even like sit. He gets up and he starts walking around the room a little bit. He's like, well, it's, which Barry will understand. It's part of the mindset of being a Marine. And he's like, you know as well as anyone. And he's like, well, Barry says, you'd be surprised how many people who have issues with alcohol also have issues with needing to be in control. News to Jack. And
Mhm.
Barry's like, your brother Adam could represent a loss of control. Now, by this time, Jack's now walked over to the window and he's kind of like staring blankly out the window, listening to Barry. And Barry says, assuming there's some part of you that wonders if you could have prevented his death. Think about your past interactions with Charmaine. Did you have control
So,
over that situation? And Jack's like, no, definitely not. He goes, you felt uncomfortable. And he's like, taking a big deep breath, kind of, putting his hand on the back of his neck and like kind of, you could tell that stresses him out thinking about it. And
mhm.
Barry's like, and you drank. And he goes, I want you to find a way to be more comfortable with feeling out of control. And Jack's still walking around. He goes, while still abstaining from alcohol. And Jack's like, oh, okay. And how do I achieve that? And Barry's like, it's a concept called calculated risk. Ah, hence the name of the episode. And Barry further explains, he's like, it's essentially finding an activity that mimics the feeling of being out of control, but done in a safe environment. That way, when that feeling arises in real life, you've already normalized it. And Jack's like, okay, what sort of activity? And Barry's like, well, you're an outdoorsman. Maybe something in nature. Jack's like, So now he's given him something to think about. Speaking of nature, we get to enjoy the lovely river and the backdrop. And Doc is in his office and he's on the phone and he's like, hi, this is Dr. Vernon Mullins. There's been a change in my vision. See, there's a problem. And I wanted to get in and see Dr. Peterson right away. Oh, nothing today? And there's a knock at the door. And he's like, 9 a.m. tomorrow. Great, thank you. And he hangs up real quick. And who is at the door? Muriel. She walks in with a cup of coffee. She is just chipper. Like, Muriel is
She
like
always
Mary
is.
Poppins of Virgin River.
Yeah, exactly. She always is because I think that's the nature of being an actor. You know,
Yes,
you
always
have
on,
to
always on.
right, exactly, and you have to read the room.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So she walks in with a cup of coffee. She's like, today's roast happens to be a light Costa Rican blend. Oh, how apropos. How apropos for this episode that I'm also drinking Costa Rican coffee. Thank you.
Yeah,
Didn't
yes.
plan that, by the way. That just,
I know that is so
it's just a
cool.
little coinky dink.
Exactly.
So she's like, fair trade, of course, with notes of cherry and molasses. Mine, by the way, no cherry, no molasses, just basic blend, but still yummy. And Doc takes a sip and he's like, thank you, Muriel. And he's rubbing his eye. She gives him a look. She's like, is everything okay? And he's like, oh, yeah, just my eyes are a little tired. And he takes his glasses off. He goes, I was just up too late reading last night. Fantastic book. Times bestseller. She's like, mm-hmm. She goes, you have a light schedule today. 2 physicals. He goes, I'll be fine, thanks. She's like, well, most doctors your age are working twice a week and golfing the rest. She's like, take the day off. And he gives her a look like, Muriel, really? She's like,
As I said, she knows how to read a room.
I know. She's like, Cameron can take your patients. And he looks at her and he's like, well, Hope and Lizzie are preparing meals for the wildfire frontline workers. And she kind of nods at him and he goes, it wouldn't hurt if I was there. And she's like, good, it's settled then. Yeah. But please look, just reschedule my appointments. There's no need to give them to Cameron. It's almost like I'm not giving him anything. He's going to have to earn it because he's still not 100%. I mean, making in his mind, he made Mel leave. So he's going to have to work for it.
Yeah. That's Mel's his daughter, and Cameron messed up. So.
Yeah, so he's going to pay for it. He's going to make him pay for it for a minute. That's okay. That's all right. We're okay with that.
And I'm okay with that.
You got to earn your stripes here in Doc's office. So
tell me about it. She definitely did.
Yeah. So he's like, he says, hey, and she's like, look, I am fully capable of maintaining my workload and serving my patients. She's like, I'll get you a to-go mug. He's like, thank you. Welcome. More scenery. God, just love it. So now we've got Denny, and he is in Jack's bar having some breakfast. He goes, wow, I should add your breakfast order to the menu. And he looks up at him. He goes, and call it everything but the kitchen sink. And he's like, oh, just carb loading because I'm going hiking. Jack overhears that and kind of looks back. And Preacher says, very cool, enjoy. And Denny's like, thanks. And then Preacher goes over with all the dirty dishes. And Jack's like, good morning. And Jack's like, you seem to be in better spirits. And Preacher's like, well, the old heart is definitely on the mend.
Poor Preacher. He's got to find himself a woman.
I know.
One who appreciates him for all his...
Right? I know. And then Preacher says to Jack, so how did your session with, go with Barry? Because he's the one who recommended him. So he knows he's seeing him. He sees him in groups and sometimes individually when things come up. But so he knows he's a good guy. And Jack's like, how do you even remember stuff like that? And he goes, why do you answer a question with a question? He goes, am I? And he goes, oh, another question? They just laugh. He goes, stop doing that, will you? And he goes, all right, fine. He goes, you really want to know? He goes, yeah. He goes, it was challenging. He goes, it was good. I mean, he's insightful. I'll give him that. See, and Preacher's like, told you. And he goes, yes, you did. Thank you. And he's like, I'm not really sure why I'm thanking you because now I have a homework assignment. He's like, he wants me to start taking calculated risks. And he goes, oh. He goes, well, I'm dying to know what that looks like. And he goes, me too, because you got any ideas? And Jack's like, I don't know. And Denny walks up and he hands Jack the bill with money and he goes, here you go. And he's like, thanks. And then Preacher stops Denny. He goes, hey, I got an idea. He goes, Denny here is going rock climbing. And Jack turns around because he was putting money in the till. And Preacher's like, maybe you could join him for a day at the crag, which I'm assuming is some rock climbing reference that I don't understand, but that's fine. And Denny's like, yeah, I'd be happy to teach you, Jack. I have an extra harness in the car. And Jack's like, I'm good, but thanks. And Preacher's like, oh, so these calculated risks you speak of only involve things you're comfortable doing? It's like, Jack's like, touche. It's like, challenge accepted. He's like, oh. And Jack's like, you know what? Let's do it. So Denny's excited. He gets to teach Jack. He goes, what could possibly go wrong? If you only knew. So we're back at the clinic, and Miriam is doing some paperwork. Muriel and her keeping busy and being helpful. And Cameron's like...
She knows her strengths.
She really does. And she actually enjoys being useful, because what else is she doing? Everybody... Remember when Liddy was sad because Ricky went to boot camp, right? And the ladies are like, oh, well, just call Muriel. She's not doing anything. Well, now they can't say that because she's busy. So Cameron says, honestly, I asked how Jack was to be polite. And this is when another person has to tell him, like, dude, read the room. She's like, sure, of course. He's like, I wasn't trying to be nosy. He goes, okay, I admit I might have overstepped a bit when I told Mel that I didn't think Jack was the right guy for her.
No kidding.
Yeah, you think?
Mm-hmm.
He goes, maybe I was projecting, but I had a
No
similar
shit.
situation with my fiance. Story for another day. She's like, uh-huh. He goes, but I have learned my lesson, okay? Keep it cordial with Mel. He goes, I don't know. I just don't know how to do the right thing. She's like, might I offer some advice? He goes, I'd love to stop talking now. And she laughs. She's like, do not get in the middle of people's relationships. Even if you're trying to help, even if you know better, believe me, I've learned this lesson the hard way with Doc and Hope. He's like, how did you fix it? Time and space, she tells him, and then the phone rings. Cameron starts grumbling. She answers the phone. Doc's office, you're on with Dr. Hayek. He goes, hi, this is Kaya Brand. I'm a firefighter helping out with the wildfires, Brigade 525. I was working my shift and I had to go back to base, and I saw this lady pulled over on the side of the road. I guess she lives up in the mountains, and she's trying to evacuate, but then she went into labor. She is super pregnant. Did I mention that? And the woman's like wincing and all of that. And he goes, I'm trying to get her to Grace Valley Hospital, but as luck would have it, the road is closed. So is there any chance that I can bring her to you? And he's like, yeah, of course, absolutely. He's like, her name is Fiona Nickerson. She's a patient of someone named, and Fiona yells, Mel. He goes, Mel Monroe. Oh, is there any chance that she's there? He's like, I'm afraid she's no longer with the clinic. And Fiona yells, I need Mel. That's who I need. And she's like, he goes, okay. She's yelling, I need Mel. It's like, okay, we'll track her down. Just get over here. So Kaya's like, great, I'll see you soon. So Muriel's like, well, it looks like now is the time and this is the space. I love her. She is the best.
She is.
She goes, you go prep and I will get a hold of Mel. And he's not looking, he's looking so uncomfortable. So we get to Jack and Denny, and they are climbing a mountain, and Jack is grunting
Yes.
and panting, and he's doing his best though. And he's like, I really thought I was in shape.
Doesn't this sound familiar?
Right?
When her Mel's sister-in-law was running outside.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Oh my
Uh,
gosh.
Nothing like Mother Nature to tell you, you are out of shape, buddy boy.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So Denny's like, when I first started climbing, my dad told me not to fight the mountain, but make it my friend. And Jack's like, oh yeah, well, I don't think I'm the mountain's type. And Denny's like, do you want to take a break? And Jack's like, what? And be showed up by a kid half my age? True. Not a chance. And he goes, I'm carrying the entire generation on my back. And Denny just laughs. He just chuckles at him. He thinks he's funny. He's like, okay, suit yourself. He goes, I'm just saying, still a long way to go. And Jack's panting, and he's like, oh boy, what did I get myself into?
Old age, buddy boy.
Oh my gosh. So they're at the bar, and they're preparing the sandwiches. Remember, they said they're going to make meals for the firefighters and the frontline workers. And they're like, geez, preacher, I was thinking PB&J and tuna. This is next level. And there's all kinds of food. And he goes, come on now, you got to elevate your game. He goes, show the rescue workers how much you appreciate them. And Hope's like, you're an angel. She goes, remind me what we're putting together again. It's a bon pork. And Preacher's like, okay, we got our pork banh mi with pickled relish over there. These are Cajun panko crusted po' boys. By the time you guys finish putting these sandwiches together, the fire's going to be out because Doc's got an opinion about everything. And she's like, what are you doing here? He goes, oh, I had a light day at the office. He goes, so I thought I'd come and support the cause. He goes, yeah, you're here to babysit me. He goes, no, I'm here to help. And he goes, might I make a suggestion? He goes, go for it. He goes, back when I was in the Army, meals were prepared on an assembly line. Economy of movement. Fastest way to get chow to the troops. Oh, so you're taking me back to my days in the Corps. Preacher's like, mm-hmm. He goes, yeah, Marine. He goes, okay, come over here. Hope's like, take that and let's... And he's trying to give directions. Start down here, put this here. Then we top it all off with the vegetables. So I think they're going to get things done a little bit more efficiently now that Doc has arrived.
Yes. Well, that's you for Doc. You like to do things that way too.
I do, yes. Because there's if you're organized, things move faster.
Yep, they do.
So we're back at the clinic, and Cameron is setting things up, and in walks Mel. Let's see how uncomfortable she can make him. Oh my goodness. So she's putting some sheets on the exam table, and he's like looking uncomfortable, and he finally says, maybe after we deliver the baby, we can deliver my foot from my mouth. He's trying so hard. He just needs to stop trying.
He needs to stop talking.
I know. That's his problem. He needs to say very little. Just say very little. And Mel is like so easygoing. She's like, Cameron, it's fine. Really. And then the phone rings, and the doctor's office, and it's Kaya. He puts it on speakerphone. He goes, the saga continues. The mountain roads are also blocked. It's like, oh no. She goes, so I had to take a detour, but I'm still 20 minutes out, and Fiona does not think we're going to make it. And then it's Mel. She's like, hi, Kaya, this is Mel. Have you been able to time her contractions at all? Because active labor can take anywhere from 4 to 8 hours. Fiona says they're coming one on top of the other. And she's like, that means the baby's coming, right? And Mel's like, yeah, that's exactly what it means. She goes, I was really hoping you weren't going to say that, because now Kaya's getting nervous. And Mel's like, you know what? It's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. And she asks Kaya, have you ever delivered a baby before? And Kaya's like looking very stressed. At the same time, Fiona's getting out of the truck. And Kaya's like, well, we went over during my training, but this is new territory for me. And Mel's like, okay, we're going to call you back on FaceTime. Don't worry, we're going to help you deliver this baby. Oh, no. Kaya turns around to Fiona and she's like, it's you and me, Mama. And Fiona's like, okay. She's like, we got this. And she's like, okay, we got this. And she's trying to psych herself up for it because she doesn't feel like they got it, but she's got to pretend like they do. Oh, my goodness. So we are out by the bakery truck. And it's on this beautiful part of the river. Best location. Best location. I'm guessing that when Paige left, she gave the truck to Connie because she wasn't coming back.
Yeah.
So, and you know what? Actually, it is the best part of the river because it's right by Jack's bar. Because remember, they're there making sandwiches, and Connie's going to help deliver them. So she's not set up to be a bakery truck. She's actually there to make sure that they get the sandwiches so that they can take them to the frontline workers because I guess there's a lot of sandwiches. So Connie's there. She greets Lizzie, who's coming out of Jack's bar with a big tray, and she's like, thanks for loaning us the truck, Aunt Connie. She goes, oh, it's a pleasure, dear. She goes, are you familiar with the expression, God doesn't give with both hands? And Lizzie's like, no. And she's like, surprise! And there's a woman standing behind Connie.
Oh.
And the look on Lizzie's face is, and then she's like, Mom! And she looks at Connie. She goes, what are you doing here? And Connie's like, Deirdre decided to pay us a visit. On a whim.
And you can tell by Connie's face, she's not thrilled to see her either.
Yeah. And then she kind of she looks at Lizzie with the look that we all know we all have. Isn't that nice?
Now remind me, is it her brother who is Connie's?
I think so. I think it's her brother.
I think it's her brother, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So Connie takes the container full of the sandwiches from Lizzie and says, I'll just load these sandwiches up and give you ladies a minute.
Mm.
And she kind of gives her a look and gives a smile. Like, what are you doing here, lady? And Deirdre is like, I'm here because I have some very good news.
Oh, Lord.
I don't think Lizzie's going to think it's good news. But
I agree with you there.
And Lizzie's like, okay. Now, Lizzie's been there several months now. 4 months, maybe? So she's in great, she's changed a lot. She's grown up a lot. Yeah.
She's grown up a lot. That selfish little conceited, all thinking about myself. She still has a little of it, but she's gotten rid of a lot.
Yeah.
That chip on her shoulder is definitely been knocked off.
She has changed a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And the mother grabs her hands and she's holding them close. And she's like, your father was golfing in Newport. And who did he meet but the dean of admissions at Cal State Northridge? And guess what? And she's like, what? He goes, he got the dean to pull a few strings and reconsider your rescinded application. You're off to college in the fall. And Lizzie looks at her like somebody just killed her cat.
Mm.
Oh my goodness. So now
uh,
so now we're back at Bree's new place and she's on the phone and she's like, "Yeah, well, that felt more like a Catholic school confession than prepping for trial." And she's just looking stressed and tired. And she's like, "But I know how it goes." She's like, "Yeah, okay. Thanks, Ivy." She goes, "Well, I'll see you in Sacramento." Just as Brady's walking in. And he's like, "Hey." And he's like, "What's wrong?" She's like, that was the ADA. She thinks that Don's attorney is going to try and paint me as an addict." And he's like, "What? That's crazy." And she's like, "So I'm not proud of this, but when I was dating Don, I leaned a little heavy on the Xanax. I was taking way more than the doctor prescribed. The night of the incident, I popped a couple and had some wine. So the DA thinks that Don's lawyer is going to try to spin it. You know, like, because of the Xanax, I'm not remembering the night clearly." He goes, "Yeah, that's nuts." She's like, "Yeah, I know. And if the California bar catches wind of this, I could have my license revoked." He's like, "So you're thinking of not testifying?" She goes, "No way. No." He goes, "That's exactly what Don and his lawyer want, for me not to testify. No, I'm going to testify." And he's like, "Good." And he's all firm with that. And she's like, "Well, how was the funeral?" She comes up to him, puts her hands on his shoulders, and he puts his hands on her hips. He's like, "Ugh." He was okay, but, it made me think about how grateful I am that I found you. He goes, "And how I don't want to take 1 second of our lives for granted." And a kissy kiss. Aw. And the chemistry.
Yep.
Because with the two of them, a kiss is never just a kiss.
Exactly.
Yeah, as she starts taking off his jacket. So,
Yeah.
so Lizzie's packing up some more stuff. Connie's helping, and Hope is grabbing the containers, and they're kind of going about their business while Deirdre is still talking to Lizzie. And Lizzie's like, "What if I don't want to go to college?" And the mother says, "Not getting a degree isn't an option." And Lizzie's like, "Says you." And she hands her a bag of food. And she's like, "Exactly, because I'm your mother, and you have proven time and again that you are bad at making decisions for yourself. That's why I sent you to Virgin River." And this is where Lizzie really lays it out. She's like, "You sure it wasn't to get out of parenting duties like you've been doing my entire life?" And the mother's like, "What does that mean?" She's like, "You conveniently forget I had 3 nannies at any given time." She's like, "Day nanny, night nanny." She goes, "Watch yourself, Elizabeth," and hands that bag back to her. She's like, "I was a working professional with a fulfilling and demanding career because I went to college." And Lizzie's like, "Well, I don't think it's fair that you come here and tell me what to do. You don't know me at all. And we haven't spoken in months." She goes, "Oh, well, I've been in contact with Aunt Connie. You're helping with the coffee truck and assisting an infirm woman." Infirm woman. Really? That's how she classifies Hope? Oh my gosh. She goes, "And that's lovely and all, but what is your plan long term?" And Hope is sort of half overhearing this conversation and almost laughing, but kind of trying to hold it in. It's kind of funny. She goes, "Without a degree, your options are limited." And Lizzie's like, "I don't have time to argue with you right now." And the mother's like, "Well, I would like to finish this discussion." And Lizzie just walks away. And Hope walks toward her from the truck. And she's like, "You want to continue this conversation? Get in the truck." So she's not going to give her an option. The mother's like, "Come on, hop to. The infirm woman has press coming to see her." And Deidre just takes a deep breath like, "Oh, good Lord, what has my child gotten herself into?" Like, that's what she's thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So we're back at the mountain where Jack and Denny are climbing. And Denny's at the top, and Jack is still working his way. And he's like, "You okay?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah." He was like, "How's it going, Jack?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's like riding a bike." And he's struggling, and he's holding on. He's just remember to use and feel and keep 3 points of contact at all times. He goes, "Yeah, I got it." And he's struggling. He is struggling. His feet slipping, and then he gets in his head, and he hears his brother's voice. "Stop letting everyone down, Jack." Then he starts remembering the night that his brother fell, and he's reliving that.
Yeah, and that's not the place to do that.
No. And he lets go and he slides. And just as he's thinking about his brother falling off the roof, and in his memory he's yelling, "Adam!" and his brother yells, "Jack!" And just as he feels like he's falling, his brother's falling. And fortunately, Denny's right there. He grabs the rope and he pulls it taut so that Jack doesn't, he's He's linked up to the mountain, but that little extra will help. And he grabs him and he stops falling. And he's like panting, like he's freaked out a little bit. And Denny's like, Jack. And he looks like he wants to cry. And he's like, Jack. His lip is trembling and his eyes are tearing. And he's like, Jack. And he's like, yeah. He goes, don't panic, Jack. And he's kind of like, got to take a deep breath. And he takes a big deep breath. And he goes, listen, just move your right foot against the granite. And he's like, okay. And he grabs his muscles together and he starts climbing again. He goes, nice. And he reaches up and he grabs the next rock. And he reaches up and he starts climbing. He goes, you got this. Then he's being very encouraging. And he's like, come on. And he's helping him. He goes, there you go. And he finally helps him and he gets to the spot where Denny is. And he just kind of sits back and has to take a bunch of deep breaths. And he's like, you okay? And Jack's like, yeah, because... And then they fist bump and he's like, nicely done. Now they can enjoy the scenery. So now we're back with Kaya and Fiona. And Kaya's like, how you doing? And Fiona's like a little nervous. Now, by this time, Kaya has helped Fiona get on the back of the truck because it's like a flatbed. And she's got some equipment there, but she's made a place for Fiona to lay down because clearly she's going to have to deliver a baby.
Yep.
Oh, my goodness. So Kaya's like, okay, we got you, okay? And she's like, I don't know if she feels too secure about it. She's like, just keep taking deep breaths. So Kaya gets her little tablet and she gets FaceTime. And now they are FaceTiming with Mel and Cameron's right there on her side. And Fiona can see Mel. And that's really what she needed because, she's very familiar with Mel. And so she probably feels better just knowing that Mel's there. Even if she's not physically there, she's there. Yeah. And she's like, hey, Fiona. She goes, honey, I know this isn't ideal, but myself and Dr. Hayek are here, and we're ready to go. We're going to get through this together. She's like, thanks, Mel. She goes, I appreciate you coming back to the clinic for me. She goes, of course, of course. She goes, now listen, on your next contraction, we're going to start pushing, okay? And she goes, okay. And she goes, you're an old pro at this. She goes, just like with Xander and Mia, right? And so Kaya takes the tablet and she sets it up next to her so they can see each other. So she can have her hands free and everybody can do what they need to do. And she tells Kaya, she goes, can you get a towel to catch the baby? They're slippery when they come out.
Yes, they are.
Goodness. And Kaya's putting gloves on. She's like, got it. And so Fiona starts yelling and she goes, okay, 3 big pushes. And Fiona starts yelling. And Kaya's like, go, go, go. And she goes, I don't feel good. And she goes, I know, sweetheart. You had an epidural with the last 2, but you got this. So Mel's trying to be encouraging. And Fiona starts straining. She goes, I feel what? And they're like, what? And she goes, okay, just take some deep breaths. And Fiona passes out. Not good. Not good. You can't deliver a baby if you're passed out.
Nope.
I mean, unless it's a C-section, you're not helping this process. So, of course, Kaya's kind of freaking out. She goes, oh my God, Fiona. Fiona, come on, Fiona, wake up. And she grabs the tablet. She goes, she passed out. What do I do? And she goes, is she hemorrhaging blood? And she goes, no, not that I can see. And she goes, preeclampsia? Because now Mel and Cameron are trying to figure it out. She goes, take her blood pressure. And Kaya's like, okay. And so she grabs the blood pressure cuff and she puts it on her. And she's taking her blood pressure. And Kaya's freaking out. She's like, okay. She's like, blood pressure is 120/80. She goes, okay. Mel's like, it's not preeclampsia. She goes, the baby can't stay in the birth canal.
Exactly. I was not about to say that.
Right? And like, I know, but an unconscious mother can't push. So Cameron and Mel are figuring it out. And Kaya's like, Fiona, come on, wake up. Fiona, wake up. So now we're back to the place where it's like a command center for the firemen and the fire chief and all the equipment and the people. And they have planning. They have like boards set up where they probably have maps of the area, while they're trying to figure out what to do. And they've set up a tent where they're passing food out. And we've got Connie and Joellen's there and Hope. And of course, Lizzie and her mother came along. And they're passing everything out. And they're like, thank you. And it says, Hope, I'm so impressed with you. And she's like, thank you. I thought you might fall into the funk of all funks after that no confidence vote. Here's our Hope. She's thriving. And Hope's like, thanks, gals. Everybody's passing food out. She goes, I wish I could understand the town council's decision. She goes, look at me. I'm clearly capable, as she's passing water and food. Connie says, I know what happened. I think when Nick heard about your car accident And just as she says that, Joellen spins around as fast as she can and gives Connie like a death glare. Like if looks could kill, Connie would be laying down right now.
Mm-hmm.
And Connie continues. She's like, oh, he went over to. And that's when she stops talking because remember, nobody was supposed to know about the car accident. But Joellen can't keep a secret. She clearly told Connie. Then somehow
Oh.
Connie and it got
Mm-hmm.
to Nick. And so that's what they think happened. So Hope spins around also and gives a death glare to Joellen. And she's like, you told Nick? You promised you wouldn't. And Joellen's like, I was really scared. And when I got home, Nick could tell how upset I was. And I had to tell him. She goes, I've been jostled worse by bumper cars at the county fair. She goes, Hope, you were in denial. And you were not cleared to drive. Look, I understand that you're upset. But you're not the mayor anymore. But you are disregarding the fact that you have actual limitations that need to be addressed. I'm going to go. And then she leaves. And Hope's just standing there with her arms folded. And now she's got her hands on her hips because she's pissed. So now we're back with Kaya and Fiona. And Kaya's like, come on, Fiona. She's like, she's not waking up. What do I do? What do I do? And Mel is like, maybe she's hypoglycemic. And Cameron's like, good call. She goes, hey, Kaya, do you have a glucometer? So now they're going to check her glucose levels. She goes, yeah. She goes, can you check her levels, please? And so she gets it out. She sets it up. She's like, Fiona. She's like, come on, stay with me, Mommy. And she's like, okay, here we go. And she pricks her finger, and she's checking the meter, and she goes, it's low, it's 45. And Mel takes a deep breath. She's like, okay, get some glucose gel and rub it on the inside of her cheek. And so Kaya's looking for it. She gets the gel. She puts it on the glove. She puts some on the inside of her cheek. She's like, come on, you can do it. She goes, Fiona, you got to wake up for me, okay? Come on. And so they wait a minute, and all of a sudden Fiona starts moving around. Kaya takes a big, deep breath. She goes, you're okay. Come on. And Fiona's like, what happened? Kaya's like, okay, hi. She goes, baby's still coming. She goes, what happened? Mel's like, Fiona, you're okay. You just passed out from low blood sugar. She goes, okay, can you start pushing? And so she starts pushing and yelling because, there's no epidural. And Kaya's like, oh my God, I can see the head. She goes, come on, you got this. He goes, wait for the next contraction and then push. And Fiona's shaking her head like, yes, it's coming. So she starts yelling. And Kaya's like, I got it. She grabs the baby. I got it. And here comes the baby. And Kaya's laughing. And then she looks at the baby, and the baby's not moving.
Oh, great.
And everybody starts stressing. And Kaya's like, he looks a little blue. And Mel's like, can you bring the baby closer to the phone? And Mel's looking. And Fiona's like, why isn't he crying? She's like, okay, Kaya, I need you to unwrap the cord around the baby's neck.
Oh.
Yeah. He goes, do it quickly, but do it gently. Don't cut it yet. And Fiona's like, oh my God. So she unwraps it, and she's like, please. And they're like, he's still not breathing. Fiona's like freaking out. Cameron says, try and dislodge any mucus that's blocking his airway. Come on, she's like telling the baby. Mel says, Kaya, we're going to have to give the baby CPR. You've done it before, right? And she's like, not on a newborn. Now she's freaking out. Mel's like, it's okay. Put the baby on his back with his head in a neutral position. I want you to put your mouth over his nose and mouth, creating a tight seal. She goes, okay, come on, baby, please. And Kaya's trying. And she gets really close to the baby's face. And just before she touches the baby's face, Mel's like, wait. She's like, the baby's lungs are very, very small. So just a few tiny puffs to start. And Kaya's like, okay. She takes a deep breath and she does it. And they're all just sitting there watching. And then we hear the baby cry. And Fiona's like, yay. Fiona's like, oh, baby. So now everybody's laughing. Kaya's like, we got it. And Cameron's like, you did good. Mel is in tears. She's just like, it's a lot. So Kaya's like, we got you, baby. And Fiona, she wraps the baby up and she hands the baby to Fiona. And she's like, hi, baby. It's like, oh my gosh. So Kaya's like, okay. And so she picks up the phone to show Mel and Cameron that the baby's okay. The baby's moving. The baby's crying. Fiona's okay. And Fiona looks to the phone and she's like, thank you, Mel. Thank you. And baby looks good. And Mel's like, good job, Kaya. She goes, can you get the EMTs to check them out? And Cameron's like, while you wait for the road to open and Then Mel's like, "You're a rock star, girl. Thank you for not losing control." And they hang up. Woo, and they both take a deep breath, and Mel's like very emotional. But Cameron's
I
like,
would be too.
"Yeah." Cameron's like, "Look, about earlier," and Mel just waves him off. She's like, "It's okay." She just shakes her head at him. She goes, "All's well that ends well. We did good work today." And they kind of both nod. He's like, "Yeah, we did." Now they can take a deep breath. So we're back at the command station for the where they're passing the food out. Connie says, "It was an honest mistake. And personally, I don't think that you are in denial." She goes, "Ha, you got a wild hair this morning, and this afternoon, well, you put all this together. What more do they want in a mare?" And Hope's like, "Exactly." Now we're going to go back to Lizzie and her mother. Lizzie's like,
Oh,
"Be honest. The reason you want me to go to college," and Hope is listening to this conversation, and she's irritated with the mother. And
yes.
Lizzie
Well,
continues, she's like, "Is so that you can finally have something to brag about to your friends." And the mother's like, "Well, getting a call from the police that you shoplifted," and Hope's listening to this. She goes, "doesn't exactly come with bragging rights." And Lizzie confesses. She's like, "You want to know why I stole a Wet n Wild mascara?" And the mother looks at her and she goes, "I had the money." She goes, "I wanted your attention." And the mother's like, "So, you stealing it somehow my fault?" And she's very indignant about it. And Lizzie's looking at
oh
her like,
yeah.
"You've lost your mind, woman." And then this news van pulls up, and this guy gets out, and he's walking over, and he goes, "Apologize for the interruption. I'm Ted Ford with Channel 3 News." And they all turn around and look at him. He goes, "I'm looking for the organizer of this event, Hope McCrae." She goes, "Please interrupt. Thank you." And he's like, "We got a call earlier, and this is just the sort of thing we'd like to highlight in our See the Good, Be the Good segment. Would you mind giving us an interview?" And Hope's like, "Actually, Ted, the person you should be interviewing is right here." And she looks at Lizzie. And she's like, "It was her vision. I'm just helping her make it happen." And the mother's looking at Lizzie like, "What?" Because "This is your doing?" And Hope's like, "Lizzie is the most capable young woman I have ever encountered." And she looks at her with a big smile. She goes, "If more young people today could be like Lizzie, I have every faith in the world for the next generation. You can quote me on that." And the guy's like, "Lizzie, would you mind taking a break and give us that interview?" And she looks at Hope and she's like, "Are you sure?" And Hope's like, kind of gives her a look like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Yeah, sure." And Ted's like, "Okay." And then Hope looks at her mother. And then her mother turns around and watches Lizzie walk over with the guy. So the guy starts his interview and he was like, "Lizzie, what made you think of this idea?" And she's standing there and she goes, "Well, I just saw it on TV this morning. And I really wanted to do something to help. This is a giant operation. How did you put it all together?" She goes, "Well, I owe a lot of it to Hope," as it continues. So now we've got Jack and Denny enjoying the scenery. They've now climbed the entire mountain. So they've got a really good view. A
You.
really
Yeah.
good view. And Jack's like, "Has this always been up here?" Oh, Jack. God, he's so cute.
Oh, that's priceless. Oh, that
Right?
is
And
flipping
they both laugh because it's funny. And Denny's like, "There's a practice in Japan called Shinrin Yoku. The literal translation means forest bathing." He goes, "And the Japanese believe that when you connect with nature, you open doors of communication to everything you see." And Jack's kind of like nodding his head. He goes, "Because nature mirrors us and we learn about ourselves." And Jack's like, "Well, I get that. Must have been practicing, what is it? Shinrin Yoku? Shinrin Roku without even knowing it." And he's like, "Virgin River has no shortage of beautiful spots." And
No, it
Jack's
does
like,
not.
"True that." He's like, "So, how long before I'm ready for that bad boy?" And they gesture over to a very big mountain. And Denny's like, "Well, I haven't even climbed that one yet." Jack's like, "No?" He goes, "No." He goes, "Well, how long you plan on sticking around?" Denny's like, "I'm not sure yet. Kind of working through some health stuff." He goes, "You could have fooled me. You're like a Spider-Man climbing that rock." And Denny sits down and he's like, "Well," he goes, "I have Huntington's." And Jack's like, "Oh." He goes, it's this inherited, hang on. "It's this inherited neurodegenerative disease." And Jack's like, "Yeah, I know." He goes, "Denny, God, I'm really sorry, man." He goes, "No, it's okay." He goes, "I've mostly come to terms with it. It's part of why I rock climb. Because when I'm out here on the top of the world, feels like my disease won't find me." And the rest of the time, I try to live in the moment. He goes, you're sure you're only 19? That's some pretty profound thinking. And Denny's like, I wasn't always like this. But I realized that being depressed about what's to come would only rob me of the good stuff I have now. And Jack's like, amen to that. And then in the backdrop, it's like they took a drone and left them on their little cliff and then pulled back. So you can, I mean, they're teeny tiny, but you can see like the entire landscape. Breathtaking. It's just amazing. So now we're back at the command center. They've basically finished up giving out all the food. There might be a little bit left or whatever. But they're folding up the tables, cleaning up, getting ready to finish. Preacher's folding chairs, doing his part. And Kaya starts walking up and she's like, no, please. I will eat a leather boot on a hot dog roll. Because she had to not only deliver a baby, but then she had to find a way out of where she was and then get Fiona to some EMTs before she could come back. And Preacher stops folding chairs and he's like, I think I can do a little better than that, with his big smile. Now, mind you, she is 5 foot, maybe 5'2". I'm gonna have to look her up. She's a teeny tiny thing. And I know Preacher's like 6'2". So I'm going to guess he's got at least a foot on her, for sure.
Yep.
She's a teeny thing. That she's a firefighter is kind of funny.
Reminds me of my grandparents.
Yeah. And he's like, big day fighting fires? And she's like, no, today I delivered my first baby. And he's like, wow. And she's like, yeah. She goes, well, she's like, it did not go like the textbook said. And he's like, no? And she's like, umbilical cords where they weren't supposed to be. Mom passed out during delivery. So in short, you prefer fighting fires? And she's like, correct. Yes, much more predictable. And they're like smiling at each other. He's like, well, in that case, you deserve the badass special. And he reaches down. He's looking around. There's nothing in that cooler. He goes, which happens to be my last sandwich. Rest assured, just as delicious. And she's like, badass, huh? He's like, you should see me in action. A few other words might come to mind. And she kind of gives him the once over. She's looking him up and down.
Yep. Her tall drink of water.
Yeah. And she's so pretty. She's got these beautiful eyes and because of her skin tone, her eyes pop. Mm-hmm. So she's so pretty. And she's backing up while she's staring at him, and he starts looking her up and down. And he kind of looks away like, oh my God, I probably shouldn't stare. But then he looks back again, and as she's walking away, he's going to check her out. And then he's like, You can see the look on his face. He's like, okay, all right, I still got it. So now we are at, looks like the farmer's market. Brie is shopping for fruits and vegetables, and she's putting some in a bag, and there's another woman who's like, Brie, right? She's like, yeah, Pauline. He goes, we met briefly at the lumberjack games. I'm Jeb's wife. Now, they changed the actress from the original because if we remember, way back in season 1, Annabelle had, the whole family was being poisoned by the water, the runoff of the drugs and stuff and the chemicals from the pot camp, and it was getting into the groundwater, and because they were not getting good water, it wasn't purified yet, they all got poisoned, and Jeb and the wife and Annabelle all had to go to the hospital. Remember, Mel and Doc took them in the truck and all that?
Yeah. And
that was a different actress. That was Annabelle's mom. That was the wife. So I think they think maybe people didn't pay attention, but,
they probably didn't.
It's the details. Sorry. So, which is good that she introduced herself, because then we know who she is, even though it's not who we remember.
Right.
So she's like, we met briefly at the lumberjack games. I'm Jeb's wife. And Brie's like, hi, Pauline. I'm so sorry for your loss. She's like, my boyfriend was at the funeral today. She goes, oh, yeah, Brady was a godsend. And Brie's like, oh, really? How so? And she goes, well, he helped with the arrangements, but the speech he gave, not a dry eye? And Brie's like, like her eyebrows raise. She goes, which reminds me, I forgot to tell him earlier. I want him to have the motorcycle he and Jeb were rebuilding as a keepsake. And Bree's like, oh, that was Jeb who was helping him? Okay, well, I didn't know. She goes, yeah, they were working on those things for months. So this whole story, which it's like he didn't say much, but he was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to the funeral because I work with Jeb at the lumber yard. Bold-faced lie. He didn't tell Brie that he knew this guy and he's known this guy. It's like, what's up with that? What is he hiding? And Brie's like, yeah, no, right, of course. Like, she's just going to go with it. And she's like, I'm sure Brady told you what happened. And Brie's like, uh-huh. And this is where it comes out. Are you ready for this? And she's like, Jeb was clean for a decade. And Brie's like, oh. She goes, it's just, you know, when people hear, oh, he OD'd on fentanyl, you just get a certain impression.
And you could tell the wheels are spinning in her brain now.
Yeah.
There is so much going through Brie's mind at this point.
Well, like, I don't know. Did she know that there was a fentanyl? Like,
no.
Because are you sure? Because I'm thinking that's the whole reason they were trying to get Melissa and all that.
Right. I think she knows only half the story.
Okay.
I don't think she understands, because I don't think he told her about Melissa. This is where things get interesting.
Right, okay? Right. Yes, you're right.
Because when that rock went through the window,
she thinks it's something to do with Dawn. Right. He knew it wasn't. Right. He confronted Melissa.
Right, exactly. It's a whole, and he's never mentioned Melissa in this whole time to her. So he's only told her half-truths, which is going to put a nail in his coffin.
And I think with the whole thing with Calvin, like, Calvin was involved in all that stuff. And Calvin apparently got blown up. So as far as Brie and Mike are concerned, that's done. Like, that situation, and just because Brady is running Emerald Lumber, Calvin's not there anymore. So I think in her mind, she doesn't think there's any more drugs because Calvin's not there. But you're right. She doesn't know about Melissa. So now Mike may know. He may be working with Mike on the down low, trying to catch Melissa or do something. But Brie definitely, yeah, I think you're right. Brie definitely doesn't know. That's a secret that would be willing to take to the grave at this point, because he knows if he does one more thing, that's not going to go over well. She's going to drop him like a hot potato. So he better watch his P's and Q's. Because he's got a good thing. And does he really want to mess it up? So now we are back at Lizzie's, and she's looking on her phone at the news report all about her and her idea to help the firefighters. And reading about it, probably reading comments. And her mom comes to talk to her. And she's like, Mom, if you're here to yell at me some more, could we just not? Like, she's so over her. And she's gotten very bold. I think previously, when she lived at home, I think she acted out as, like, the defiance, but she never addressed her parents directly. So I think now that she's here and she's been away from them, it's like she's grown a bit of a backbone where she can speak to her mother directly and not just be childish and do naughty things to, like, irritate them. I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
So the mother's like, I'm not here to yell at you. I want to say I'm proud of you. And Lizzie's looking at her like she's got 9 heads. Like she's probably never said that in her life. She looks at her. She's like, you are? She's like, I just don't want you to miss out. And she's like, Lizzie, the quintessential college experience can only happen once.
Well.
And Lizzie's like,
college isn't for everybody.
It isn't. And Lizzie's like, I'll make you a deal. I'll consider going to school, but I can't give you an answer tonight. She's like, I want some time to think about it. And the mother's like, okay. And she's like, really? She goes, Lizzie, you're 19. I can't force you to do anything. She goes, but if you choose not to go, that tells me you're ready to be an adult, which means being financially independent. She goes, so you're going to cut me off to punish me for not doing what you say or what you want. She goes, I want to make sure you can stand on your own 2 feet. Jeez. Oh, my. So we're back at the bar, and Preacher, it looks like he is going through the receipts. And we hear a voice, and it's Kaya. And she's like, thanks a lot. Now, she doesn't look like she looked before. She's cleaned up. She cleans up pretty good.
Yep.
And I think the bar is closed. I don't think anybody's there. It's just the 2 of them. And she doesn't say this in like a happy, perky voice. She's like, you've ruined me for all other sandwiches. So, girlfriend has a plan. And he just walks up. He goes, oh, I am sincerely sorry for that. And she's like, do you have any idea what firefighters actually get fed, as she sits down at the bar? And he laughs. And he's like, well, how can I make it up to you? And she's like, tequila? Straight up? And he's like, okay. So he grabs a bottle of
I think it's interesting. He has won over so many women's hearts with his cooking.
I know.
You know, and while he may not have an intimate relationship with half of them, oh, they'll never forget him though.
Right? Oh yeah. She's like, you wouldn't let me drink alone, as he's grabbing 2 glasses. And he's like, I wouldn't think of it. And so he grabs the tequila. He goes, and I have got one thing. Now this is my absolute favorite. What is that? Reposado? It's got a, it's a like a funky bottle. Like it must be very expensive or very exclusive or something like that. And he pours the glasses, but he's doing like one of those whiskey pours, you know, where you got a giant glass, but you only get like 1 finger full, which is how they usually. He's like, this is my absolute favorite Reposado. Nice. He goes, it has rested in an oak barrel for 8 months. And she grabs it. It's rich, sweet, and she's like, And he's like, well, it's, you know, it's more of a sipping tequila. She drank the whole thing. He goes, what the hell? She did it in a swig. Now they've got what they call sensual song in the background. And they're smiling at each other and they're laughing. He grabs the glasses. He grabs the drink, puts the bottle away. He's like, so can I get you anything else? And as he turns around, she is sitting on the bar. And the look on his face is like, what the hell is going on here? Like, she's literally sitting on the bar. Looking at him like he is such a snack.
He definitely is a snack.
Yep.
Just how you want that snack served, girlfriend.
Yep. So she turns around and she swings her legs over. So her legs are on his side of the bar, but they're sort of leaning up on the ice bucket below. And she's with her fingers like saying, come here. And he's just walking closer. She's biting her bottom lip. It's like, okay, Kaya. And they interlace their fingers, which is such a bizarre thing to do for someone you literally just met. Like, they've had 2 conversations. And they're looking at each other. And she grabs his hand once they're laced. And she pulls him. And now he's standing basically between her legs as she's still on the bar. And then he grabs her. And he's carrying her. Oh, my goodness. Preacher. You're such a forward man. He's like, you're so beautiful. And she kisses him. Like she's so tiny. He's like holding her as she straddles him. Like, okay, that's what we're going to do. Like him and Julia, they had a couple of dates and a few, what is it?
For tat. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a little Aikido training and boom, they were between the sheets. So yeah. I don't know. Maybe he just feels the chemistry and jumps to it. But then he didn't do that with Paige. Like, what was that about? I mean, maybe because she was, a wounded person that he didn't want to move so fast.
Yeah. Well, I think also Paige had a lot on her plate.
She did. And she had a son and there was drama but there was so much more with them than so far with these other 2 women. But we'll see. We'll see what he thinks about Kaya. Because I think so far, I'm going to guess just an opinion. I'm just going to guess that maybe he likes her a little bit. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd say so.
I mean,
He's definitely,
they're looking a little cozy.
yeah, she's stirring up a few things there.
Oh yeah, for sure. So now we're back at Jack and, well, I should say Mel's cabin, and Jack and Mel are there, and they've got, it's very dim lighting, candles lit everywhere, and they're sitting on their little couch, and he's rubbing her shoulders. I love this cabin. And Jack's like, "Wow, you did all that on FaceTime?" Because now she's recounting her day having to deliver a baby over FaceTime. And she's like, "Yeah, sure did." He's like, "I just talked to Fiona a little while ago, and she and baby Kai are doing great." He goes, "Oh, that's so good." Now, okay, I'm going to say this. And he goes in and he kisses her cheek and he whispers in her ear, "You're incredible." And as he's massaging her shoulders, okay, Jack, like, you got to learn how to massage people's shoulders. It, it, they, I didn't like the way they did this. If remember when she massaged his shoulders when they were standing in the kitchen and he was all stiff and then they went into the shower and she was like massaging his shoulders and it was like very genuine and like she seemed like she knew what she was doing. I'm sorry, I don't think he knows how to massage shoulders. I'm sorry, Jack, but you got to do better. Like this I when you see it, you're just like that. It just looks like he's uncomfortable massaging shoulders. Like he's not really sure what he's supposed to be doing. Like, I mean, I'm sure you are better at many other things. So let's just leave this one out. Okay. That's just my opinion. I don't know. I just think he looks uncomfortable massaging shoulders. Like he's not even massaging. He's like squeezing. And she's like, "You're incredible too." As he kisses her cheek. And she's like, "You are too." And he's like, "Hmm?" And she goes, "So are you." She says, "You had your own little John Denver moment today." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And she's like, "Come on, Rocky Mountain High." And they both start laughing. I think it's hilarious. He goes, "Oh, he's like, I think it was more like Tom Petty." And she's like free falling. See how he's like pushing on her back and then squeezing. It's like, it's just, I'd be like, "Can you stop? Can you just please don't do that anymore?" She's like, "It was safe, wasn't it?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." He goes, "But for a while there, it was definitely, felt out of control." And Jack's like, "I think Barry was right. There might be something to this calculated risk thing." He goes, "I even decided I'm going to take Nick's sister up on her offer." And Mel's like, "Oh, really?" And she turns around and sits down, faces him. She goes, "Yeah, why not? I'll start betting on myself more." He's got his hand on her shoulder. He's rubbing her arm. He goes, "Well, good, because I'm already all in." And he goes, "I'm doing it for us." He goes, "I don't want you to have to worry about me." Hold on. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking and not reading.
That's okay.
He's like, "I'm doing it for us, too. I don't want you to have to worry about me." She's like, "Sweetheart, I only worry about you when I don't know what's going on inside of that head of yours. Like this morning." He's like, "But I talked to you. I talked to you about Charmaine, didn't I?" She's like, "Yeah. So why is this different?" He's like, "I don't know." He goes, "I just think there's some things that you can't fix, and you're going to have to trust me." And she smiled. He's like, "Trust me, and I got an idea. I was thinking, you and I go away for a couple days." And she's like, he's like, "A little camping." And she's like, "Can I bring an air mattress?" Because she's already said, not a camper.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Brie is not home yet, but Brady has set up this whole thing. He's got her back patio. Girlfriend has a patio. Let me tell you, it's huge. And it's got really nice outdoor furniture. It looks like he's set up with blankets and pillows, like almost like a bed on the floor. And there's 2 boxes. So there's like champagne and popcorn and a projector. And he's got a screen set up and he's got string lights everywhere. It's beautiful. Like, amazing. Like, so impressive. Like, he went to a lot of work for this. So cute. So cute, Brady. And
Well,
he's
most people in this part of the in this town probably have amazing
oh, I'm
backyards.
sure. And she gets home and she comes out to the patio and it looks like there's rose petals everywhere. And he's like, tonight's viewing is a 2001 classic. And she looks at the screen. She's got her arms folded in front of her. He goes, you'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll want to go back to law school. And she's kind of looking at him. He goes, oh, okay, maybe not the last part. He's trying to be cute and funny. And he goes, hey. He's like, what's going on? He goes, I thought you'd love Legally Blonde. And she's like, I ran into Pauline at the farmer's market, and she is not happy. Turns out you and Jeb are good friends. And he's like, Jeb died of fentanyl? And she wants you to have the bike you built together. And he's just kind of standing there like, Brie, okay, I wanted to be upfront with you, but it's complicated. She's like, I poured my heart out to you. I told you things about my life that I'm ashamed of. And she's in tears by this point. So why don't I get the same honesty and vulnerability? Why don't I get the same honesty and vulnerability from you? Hang on. I had a frog in my throat for a second.
That's okay.
She goes, I mean, like, I can handle complicated. What I can't handle is being lied to.
Go ahead.
And he's like, fentanyl's being shipped through the lumber yard. And she looks at him like, uh-huh. He goes, I had no choice. The person that runs it said, I do what they say or they're going to hurt you, Brie. And she's like, okay. She's like, wow. So, all right. So the rock through my window, that was them. And Brady kind of shakes his head. She's like, you didn't want me to think it was Don because you knew it wasn't. He goes, I was just trying to protect you. She's like, how many times have I told you I don't need your protection? I need transparency. He's like, I know. And I know you're right. You have to understand. I was trying to keep you safe until I could figure out a way out of this mess. I screwed up. She goes, yeah, I'd say so. She goes, your friend is dead. I'm gutted by what happened to Jeb, he says. I tried. Okay? I pleaded with him not to get involved. She's like, uh-huh. Well, I'm not sure where this leaves us, but I need some time to think. He's like, what? What does this mean? Time to think? What are you talking about? She's like, about us. No, Brie, come on. Hey, like, he's going to try anything he can. But, he should know if he lies, that's it. He's like, I love you. And she's like, yeah, I love you too, but right now I need you to leave. And so she shuts the door and goes in the house. Like, you can find your way out, my friend. And she shuts off the lights, all those string lights in the backyard, turns around and walks away.
Again, boy cannot get a break if his life depended on it.
The end. He is like a trouble magnet. Like, yeah, he can't get out of his own way. Every time he tries to do the right thing, it backfires. Every single time.
Yep.
I swear, Brady. Seriously, dude. And the thing is, if he would have... We don't know, but let's play it out. Like, if he would have told her the second this whole thing started, do you think that Brie would have still stayed with him?
Yes, because she loves him and she understands that his relationship with all these people involved is complicated.
Yeah.
But the point is, and I get where Brady's coming from. You know what I mean?
He's trying to protect her. I get it.
He's trying to protect her. But the problem is they've come so far. Why keep this from her?
Okay.
You know what I mean?
One of the reasons why, besides the fact that he wanted to protect her, is I think because she's proven it in the past that if he tells her about all this, she's going to go, oh, okay. let's come up with a plan to get Melissa or let's rope Mike in. She's going to want to be a part of it. She's going to want to help. And
Yeah, I
he
guess.
knows that. And if that happens and something happens to her, he would never forgive himself.
That's true.
So, I mean, I get where he's coming from, and she's not going to look at it that way. It doesn't matter that he's literally doing this to save her life because he knows what kind of people he knows how Calvin was. And if Melissa's is like higher than Calvin in charge and she's the brains behind it all, Melissa has no problem wiping somebody off the face of the earth. Just like Calvin. So, Melissa wouldn't think twice if Brie got in the way. Just make her disappear. Like, it wouldn't even be a thought.
I agree.
And damn the consequences, because they'd make up she had an accident, or, they cut her brakes on her car, something,
I guess so.
So I think, I get he's trying to protect her, and I don't know, I just think it was a lesser of the two evils, because Brie would want to help, and that would put her in more danger. So maybe by not telling her, it's like he risked what just happened, them, her needing a minute, which we don't know if that's a break or a breakup. We don't know yet. We were on a break. I don't know. Is it a break? We'll see. Is it a breakup? I don't know.
There's so much with these two. It's not funny.
And you know what? Like the name of the episode, he took a calculated risk to go that way as opposed to the other way, and this is where it got him. Honestly, it was probably going to end up this way regardless which way he went. Because there were no good options. So.
Anyway, folks.
Oh, well. We're moving on. Yep, it's getting more and more interesting. Well, we'll be back next time with another episode from Season 5. Thanks again, Gigi, for spending some time chatting about Virgin River.
No problem, Trace.
All right.
No problem.
You have yourself a great day, everyone. Thank you again for listening. We really appreciate it, and we hope you continue to enjoy our banter and shenanigans as we continue to watch more Virgin River. All right. Take care. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Gigi. Bye-bye.